Hi there and welcome to another Kraftgali video. Today we're going to make embossed stripe background cards featuring Utterly Fantastic stamp set by Avery Elle. Here's a quick close-up of today's cards. Let's start with this background first. I'm using striped embossing folder by Darius. I embossed an A2 size cardstock using my die cutting machine, and then I'm going to give it a little bit of blended colors with fossilized amber and worn lipstick distress oxide inks. I actually like the distress oxides better than the regular distress inks just because it's very forgiving. It allows you some time to move it around and blend your inks. I simply go back and forth between the two colors, which could be sometimes a pain if you have just one blending tool. As you can see, I'm just going back and forth in circular and striped fashion on and on. After blending my background, I'm going to trim the edges a bit with my trimmer. Before we move on to finishing this card, I want to show another background that I created with a similar technique. I created a rainbow color background with multiple colors of distress oxides in this one. I did not like the transition between colors in my blending, so I cheated a bit. This is a small trick. I'm going to cut my card along the diagonals. Don't worry, I'm not messing it. Basically, I'm going to cut it along the diagonals in thick strips, and I'm trying to separate the regions of blending that I liked and I did not like. This process is very similar to any video editing software. You trim your initial raw video in smaller clips, delete some of your non-favorite parts from between, and then merge all of your favorite parts together to make one final video. And hey, no one knows you deleted something from between these clips. As you can see, I removed some of the strips containing muddy areas of blending and adhered the remaining strips together with some scotch tape in the back side. Once these are glued, I will trim some of the edges and it will look like one finished single piece of embossed cardstock. And the good thing is, by looking at the final card, no one will be able to find out what it went through during manufacturing. Like, nicely packed. I originally planned to use these embossed rainbow background as two corners to my A2 size white cards. So I'm going to cut my final square piece across the diagonal to get two triangles that I will add to my white note card at opposite corners. After adding these corners to my card base, I will be working on my sentiment. I'm using Avery Elle Otterly Fantastic stamp set. After applying some embossing powder to a scrap piece of vellum, I'm going to stamp the sentiment "Have an utterly fantastic day" with VersaFine Onyx black ink, and later heat emboss it with some shimmer embossing powder. I believe it was a stamping powder. I would give more details in the description below. After heat embossing, I'm going to cut a thin strip of vellum and adhere it to my final card. Recently, I have been enjoying adding vellum to my cards. I guess this is the flavor of the season? Question mark. I will be using these adorable otters from the Avery Elle Otterly Fantastic stamp set. These otters are indeed fantastic. I'm using two swimming otters in my card today, trying to make my card a little Valentine theme, so I'll be adding two otters, he otter and she otter. Well, by looking at this card, you might tell I'm a beginner at Copic. I just do what works for me. I finished off my card by adding some Wink of Stella and two little hearts in hands of these otters, and finished it off with some glossy accents. Here's a closer look at today's card. Now let's get back to the first background that we created. I'm going to use the same image and sentiment on this card as well. I'm going to add three tiny hearts near the otter that looks like they're flying in air. I like to stick both sides of my card temporarily with the masking tape while keeping glossy accents to dry. Initially, I added my embossed stripe background to an A2 size card, but later I felt that the edges of the card looked too plain, so I added it to a smaller card base. And this finishes our card for today. I hope you enjoyed my video on creating an embossed stripe background using Utterly Fantastic Avery Elle set. If you're interested in more cards and videos, you can click on right to subscribe to our channel, or you can click on the two videos shown below that might be of interest to you. Thank you so much for watching. Have an awesome day. Bye bye.